Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:32. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first thing is to amend the agenda. Does anyone? You sound like you have an amendment, John.
I clicked my teeth. I have two things. One is we received a free liquor license renewal for the Georgetown Tavern. So, and the other thing is, because I copy prior agendas, new ones, I didn't put motion to sign the orders.
Okay, gotcha. And so we would just need a motion.
Make a motion that we include a motion to sign the orders and also to approve, well, to consider the liquor license of Georgetown Tavern.
I will second that. Is there any discussion? Ryan, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we're gonna add the liquor license to Georgetown at the end of new business and the motion to sign orders above board member comments. Are there any public? I'm sorry, we need to approve the previous minutes from December 17th. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for 12/17/25.
I will second that. Is there any discussion? Ryan?
Aye.
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 Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? All right, let's get into new business with the police. And I believe that is what the chief is here to discuss with us.
Yeah. So we did present our budget. I believe you'll have a copy of it. Nothing eye-popping over it from what we've done last year. I'll use this opportunity to kind of give you a little highlight of what we did last year, and what we're going. So right now, as I told you in the last meeting about that, we're just waiting on certification to come back on him, level 2. We got that. He's currently finishing up 2-week military schooling, so he should be back. So we'll have him on the road. We're gearing for the beginning of February. The second officer that I spoke of, Officer Guzowitz, we submitted all his paperwork to the academy about 2 weeks ago. We're hoping to hear back from them in the next couple of weeks to get him a level 2 certification. As far as Officer Bissett goes, we're looking to put him through the academy in August. Unfortunately, the academy wouldn't make a waiver for him because he was in military training. So we were unable to get him into this next academy class. But with the 2 of them, that will bring us up to full staffing. We are in the process now of filling a vacant sergeant position. At noon today, whoever wanted to apply, that was the deadline. We had 2 from within the department apply for it. So we'll be starting the process in the next week or 2 with the testing. And then there's a few other things, and hopefully by the beginning of February, we'll have a sergeant's position. We also have a officer who we're sending away to an SIU school to be trained in sex assaults, which is paid for through the SIU. That's hopefully coming up in April. As you guys have noticed, we did update our uniforms. I've had a couple of questions to why we did that with the pants. The main reason was just the time it took to get the pants. It was a 3 to 4 months from the time we ordered them to the time we got them in because they were special order pants. And they were relatively expensive. So we switched to a more readily available pair of pants that blends in with our uniforms better. Last year, we ended with 2,387 calls for service. The prior year, we did 2,487. We anticipate the reason for that decline was because
I'm so sorry.
we've only had one officer on the overnight shift with the lack of full-time coverage that we had. I'll remedy that this year with the other office. Just some cases to let you know what we've done. We did 13 death investigations, 71 assault cases, 43 burglary, larcenies, 111 burglaries, 7 drug arrests, 11 DUIs, and 317 agency assists, which is helping other departments, fire department. For our revenue last year, with contractual services that we did, were mostly in West Windsor. We brought in approximately $24,000 for the town. Court fees, we brought in about 600. Parking tickets was 1,000. With the West Windsor contract that we have again this year was 110,000 we brought in. School resource officers, 89,000. Fingerprinting was 18,900, and then people requesting reports over $1,000. What I did want to bring out to the community, because a lot of people don't know some of the services we do for free. If anybody goes away on vacation, would like to have their houses looked at while they're gone, we have a form that you can fill out. You just tell us the length of time that you're going to be gone and a contact person, and we'll go and do drive-bys the house. If we do have an alarm there, we'll be able to notify you or the key giver for that. What we're starting up now is something called, it's a company with SNP, Special Needs Information Program. If you or a loved one has somebody who has a mental disability or mental health issue, we encourage you to come down to the police department and fill out a form. What we can do is then put you into our names table of that person. And if we happen to go to that call, person's acting irrational or something, we can go through their names table and figure out if they have a mental health disorder. So that's something right now we're finalizing the verbiage on it to make sure we don't violate any code. VIN inspections is something we do quite often. As long as you're a Windsor or West Windsor resident, you can come down, we'll do that free of service for you. And our police liaison, we've had a lot of discussion with that over the last year. It's something that we have through a grant with HGRS. We have a police liaison embedded in our department. So if you or anybody you need is going through a crisis, a mental crisis, you can reach out to us and we'll put you in contact with them and they can offer services. Some of the things we do for a fee are the fingerprints. You can go to our website. If you go onto the town's website, underneath police, there's an actual link to that where you could sign up to have your fingerprints. We do it on Thursdays and Fridays. And any reports that you'd like to get. We also charge a fee for that, and you can as well do that on our line. With everything going on with drugs, we have a tip line. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. If you do go to our website, if you go to the town's website, go to the police department, there's an anonymous tip line. It's 674-1019, and you can leave the information on there. You can also send me an email. Just know that with an email, it could be as part of our discovery if we get a case out of it. So you would not remain anonymous at that point. Well, yeah, a lot to ingest.
So from my perspective anyway, this is a little bit different, not a lot from prior years, but everybody's been given a budget. Everybody's been given the executive summary and a lot of other information that we're not going to go through line by line. It's more, is there philosophy, service, values, things like that ask the department heads. If you have questions about line items, we'll certainly answer it. But the intention when the different department heads come through, it's more to talk about the bigger picture kind of things. I know we have in the budget continuing replacements of the vehicles.
Yeah, and we started a new process this year with the last car. where we get the extended warranty. Unfortunately, we've taken a hit the last fiscal year. You'll see on our budget due to the aging vehicles that we have. There was no warranty on them, so we're kind of flipping the bill for them all. With the last car that we just purchased, we bought the extended warranty, so we have a deductible up to 120,000. So we'll be able to save some money in the long.
And as I mentioned in other meetings, we'll be going into contract negotiations. There are expectations that are built into the budget here for what the market is doing. That's where those kind of numbers come from. Staffing, just getting to full staff.
We are, yep.
Yeah, so we've been going through some training and access to the academies and things like that. But no new positions or anything like that in the police department. And any new equipment, anything that's different. So it's a lot of keep doing what we're doing.
Keep doing what we're doing.
No, I asked this, I think the last time you were here, Bill, but how many full-time, part-timers do we have again? I can't remember.
Currently, we have two part-time officers at work. That's not including Officer Bissett, Officer Guzowitz, who are technically, they're full-time, but they were part-time because they had to go through training. So we have a total of 10 officers.
10 full-time positions, not certification, 10 full-time positions and 2 part-time.
The part-time are both full, they're also full-time. So with the exception of Officer Bissett and Officer Guzowitz, who are only level 2 at this point, the rest of the officers, even though our part-timers, Officer Graham and Officer Pregent, are full-time certified.
No, not the certification, but like full-time employees
Right.
with 10 full-time 40-hour-a-week positions and 2 part-timers. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many people do we have essentially on call that are full-time certified that can come in? But like how many folks like that come in and work for us occasionally?
Officer Graham and Officer Pregent.
So 10 to.
And Regent worked here before. Officer Graham what's his background?
Officer Graham used to work with me in Weathersfield. He used to be a full-time certified Vermont State Trooper. He's now a lieutenant in Charlestown, New Hampshire.
So how's the labor market out there?
Luckily, we haven't had to tap into that,
Okay.
so I couldn't give you an answer. I know there's stuff going. There's a lot of competition because there are the need for law enforcement. I know Hartford's going through a training process. I know the Sheriff's Department's always hiring. So it's tight when you are looking because there's so many different agencies looking for the people. And there's some offer some very good incentives to get officers to come. That's something that we'll have to deal with when we get there.
And I can say just in a general sense, all the revenue lines are the same. They're up a little bit just to reflect cost increases to the various contracts we have. We haven't changed the fee for fingerprinting.
No.
It goes up and down.
That's
just depending on the
that's a
demand.
state.
And on the expense side, do we have police? We do have some police expenses. And just if this looks different, if anybody pays attention to that, Natalia for fiscal 26 redid our chart of accounts to organize them a little more. Way to make more sense, at least for accounting. For all the rest of us, we have to just learn it. But you can see things like that is broken out. But you can see the whole department is up 4.2%. Which I think is pretty reflective of tight cost controls. The labor is up 6%, just to give you an idea. So that's half the cost of the department, and yet the total department is only up something. Is there anything that got whacked between the time you said this is my dream list and where we are tonight?
Yes.
Not yet. Okay.
You're feeling pretty good about this. Is there,
The budget?
yeah, you're feeling good about it. There's nothing, you're not perfect or anything like that.
As I said, the only thing last fiscal year, you're gonna see that we took a hit on repairs to the cruisers. It was just, it took a big chunk because we were, there's a lot of repairs that need to be done.
Anything else? There'll always be a chance to revisit, so, we'll, got anything else to say?
I think I talked to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief Daniel.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Next up is recreation with Jane Alter.
I'm James Aldridge. I'm the rec director down in the department down here. I think most of you know. I have me, Bill, and Caitlin Curtis, who for me, Bill Goki is my second. The big portion of our budget is our salaries, right? In order to work, and I'll give you an insight of our days. Today I woke up, right? Came to work, shoveled most of the day, Bill plowed most of the day. I left. I just came back from Norwich as a basketball game. It was intense, right? I get out. I have 4 missed calls from my sister as a family matter that needed to be taken care of. So after this, I will be going there probably. And Molly,
Yeah, I heard you. I figured I didn't even.
Molly, right? I haven't even talked to Molly today.
It's just.
12 hours.
Sounds peaceful.
What?
Sounds peaceful.
Yeah, kind of. No. So, right, we're talking 12 hours into my day and I'm still ready to truck because I'm solid. I have to be, because even in my worst days, there's people that are looking for answers from me and I need to have them. A little kid looks at me and asks me what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm in my own little head about my own little world. I can't be, never. And that's where I am right now. Right? I'm trying to fight my own. So, like I tell the kids, there's no doubt in my life, and as your coach, I'm in your corner. Right? I think Tom Marsh is the best town manager in the town because he's Windsor, and that's right. I'm a Windsor guy. Okay, so I'm in the corner. I'm invested into this rec department. We run the rec department. We're over at the common, right? Right now we have the ice skating rink. The weather's been great. It's been full swing. Harry has been helpful. We have the fairgrounds. We have Kennedy's Pond. We do a little bit with Paradise Park. They have their own committee, but they don't necessarily have something like the last time the lean-to got fixed, I think came from the Friends of Rec. And that was Joe was here. So that was probably 8 years ago. Some of the boards on the bottom. We joke about falling on a budget, right? We make things work. I saw last year the repairs and maintenance was a little over. What me, Bill, and Paul Woodman, who was the select board member, was very decent. He came down and helped us do our gym floor this year. You know, we got 2 pickleball courts. We saved a lot of money by doing it ourselves. And then the pavilion that was built at Kennedy's Pond last year was all non-taxpayer money. That was nothing to do with anything that the town had paid for. So the things that we strive to do, like our 5-year plans, what does it look like, right? The basketball hoops 2 years ago that we raised money in 3 weeks and got $25,000 to replace. And if we want something, we're not coming here. We're not asking you anything that we've never asked you before. The only thing that I advocated for, and Tom knows this, and he was a huge help, right? I told him I needed it. I kind of stayed on him, were the heating units. And that was a big project. Not so much for me, right? Like the guys came in and did it. We had to be here. Yeah, we've kind of worked through. Now, me, Bill, and Caitlin, the rec is kind of like our body. If we get a scab, we know what's wrong, right? Like we know the ins and outs. And it's happened when we were in high school. Rick, the guy the janitor over here, has been there 35 years. There's something to be said. Mike Vivian in this town. Mike Vivian's a solid guy. He knows the ins and outs. If something breaks, it's happened before, so he knows how to go back and do it. So that's kind of what you're getting with the rec department. You know, I have been working here 20 years, was July 1st. As 15 years old, not full-time 20 years, 10 years full-time, but 20, it really invested into the kids, into the community. We do offer a lot for free. Me and Tom have talked. We didn't quite talk as much as we probably should about it, but about raising prices and keeping it. Hey, no kid left behind, but how do we get the budget back up here? What are we offering that we're not? How do we, and I know the ways we can do it, right? There's many different ways. No one's been coming and breathing down my neck though, right? Hey, you need to make $125,000 revenue, right? You need 150. I haven't had that. It's always been about 100. That's about what it is. And if you look at from all the way from chicken scratch 1997 that Harry had all the way down in the basement, it's all hand did. Even if he brought it up to the treasurer, he wrote it down himself, and I still do it downstairs. That's because if they give me a different number that I have, I'm asking why the number is different, right? That's what you're getting from me. I'm the treasurer of the Coon Club. I'm the treasurer of the Upper Valley Rec. When something's missing, I'm the guy that wants to know why it's missing. And that has nothing to do with my job, or I've just always kind of been good with numbers and holding people accountable. The other aspect of it, the rec has kind of grown into a little bit of the Windsor Coon Hunters Association, where we do fishing derbies, and like this spring we're going to do an old person's fish, like it seemed that I called it grumpy old man fishing derby, but we're trying to find other avenues. Those are coming from the rec department. Yes, because Bill's the treasurer, because we are invested in the outdoors and want to see kids do things other than sit on their phones. That's the direction that we want it to, because that's what we're invested in. That doesn't mean that's what the community's invested in. I would never ask for something unless I really, really needed it, because I know how, I know the guy. I just dropped the kid off down on River Street next to my mom. Great kid, know the family, known him my whole life, right? They don't have everything they need. They got enough though, right? And that's the thing. We, a million times today, kids complain about the official. Guys, we have to figure out a way to win. Stop coming to me with problems and come to me with solutions.
Change question.
That's the atmosphere we have.
Question for you. It's a little bit of a bump, 9%, but it doesn't look as says dollar wise, your overall rec budget's up about 9%, but it doesn't look like that's a huge, but money wise. So is that mostly, it's just, it looks like, in the grand scheme of things, kind of between three of you kind of.
I don't have any.
But
I mean, I can answer. I just need
it
to
is,
see.
but it looks like, yeah, it's 9%, but it doesn't seem like overall from a big percentage, like, or big cash number wise, it doesn't look huge on the
So-
grand scheme.
So you gotta remember minimum wage, right? Minimum wage going up.
Sure.
From 50 is a huge, that's 8% is the wages,
Yeah,
right? And
It's like, it looks like maybe I would say kind of a relatively small increase for wages for your part-time staff between three of you. And, at the end of the day, it's a 25 grand increase, but most of that is just wages and
right.
some repair stuff, right?
Well, we also gotta remember 20 years ago, in 2002, $100,000 was worth like 56.
Yeah.
So 100,000 today, it was.
For sure. Well, I'm saying, it looks like it's a big percentage, but money wise, it's not a huge, like, I don't see that as like a huge number compared to where our budget is. Yeah, it's a 9% increase overall, but doesn't seem like that's unreasonable with the stuff you have going in here.
I have a question.
Those are all wages,
You,
like I said.
you mentioned that you could think of a lot of ways to make a
Charge for
few
Kennedy's
extra
Pond.
bucks.
Well, we can do other stuff.
No, I'm just saying, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like when I'm saying that, you know, it's $40 for 5 weeks of swim lessons.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at somewhere else, it's $40 for 4 sessions,
Mhm.
right? Not 20, so 5 times 4 is 20 sessions. Realistically, it should be more like $200 to $400.
So I just,
We don't live in here, it's either people sign up for it or they don't.
Ask the question.
I'm not saying that we should get additional revenue that way, but I'm just wondering if anybody has thoughts about whether that would be a good idea, or we just is keeping all prices for everybody as low as possible. What everybody thinks is the best idea, just wondering.
A gym membership for a family for a year is $250. Right, and it's $175 to go to the CCA, so you gotta look at
And-
what they offer.
Do you feel that that's the right thing for the community to keep the prices as low as possible for everybody?
I'm just the guy that's in charge. I do whatever people want. I think it's fair. I also know there's a fine line between raising the price and having no one show up.
Mhm.
Right?
I do say, I feel like there's probably like not even a happy medium, but a happy quarter where it's a little bit higher, but we're not chasing people out because most of what you have talked about, and what I've learned from you in the past little bit is you're just like, this is for the people that can't afford to go to the aquatic center and can't afford to go to, yeah. Oh, which is good. And we want it to be that. But I think that there's somewhere between saying it's $40 and 250, like a cool 75, but that's y'all's projects to work on.
But like,
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, there is other ways, and we have talked, we are,
like, do you ever ask people if they, for voluntary donations, because the actual cost is obvious,
so.
the actual price is
Yeah,
not.
right, there's a fine line, right, to say that, but then, like, how do you offer that? You can't be like, hey, ask about these, because then everybody and their brother that don't even need it. I personally like those conversations. The people that really need it, they have asked me, right? And we do have a Friends of Rec program. So there is a kid, if the kid
Okay.
can't, like, they're gonna play.
And the Friends of Rec how do they,
So it was originally, yeah, it was originally started with before this became the town, before the school left, they had a committee. There was 4 or 5 people on it. Then when the town took it over and we got this building, right, then they hired Harry. It kind of dissolved, but it didn't. The Friends of Rec is like, hey, they buy stuff.
You have a separate non-profit, Friends of Rec.
Yeah, it's nothing, yeah, it's nothing. It's more like, hey, donate. Harry's wife passed away and they donated to the Windsor Rec, right? It was to the Friends of the Windsor Rec. And then that money went to, just like the pavilion, the money.
about how much does the Friends of Rec raise every year?
I mean, in 2 months, we raised $13,000. So whatever.
For a specific need? Is that what you mean?
Well, so some of it comes from birthday party rentals, because we buy the bounce house, so the bounce house, the
What was the
fee for
money?
the
You're
bounce.
saying what was the need? What was the money for? Not what you're raising it for, but did you have a specific fundraising thing or are you just throwing that into the general fund?
Ask your question again, huh? Sorry.
When you just said you raised 13,000, was
And I'm
that,
telling her, yeah, so.
was that a specific,
So that's what I'm trying.
decided you needed 13,000
No, I'm
for
trying to tell you
something?
Where it came from. Okay, so about 3,000 came from birthday party rentals in the last 3 months, right? We bought a bounce house 15 years ago for $1,500 from the Friends of Rec. When someone rents that out, the money for that rental goes back to the Friends of Rec.
Okay,
So this whole month has been booked. There is not a single vacant date on a Saturday or Sunday for not a birthday party. That's $125 every week times 2.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's where that came from. There was other donation money. David Becky ran a tournament. The money was donated.
do you have like a goal of?
There's no goal. It's the people like to donate. We keep it in there until we have. The pavilion was our last goal,
Okay,
right? Now, the money that's going in there is to pay to redo the tennis courts and the basketball courts. That is our next big project.
Okay.
That costs about $38,000 to do from Vermont Tennis.
okay,
We're trying to get all of the material and do it ourselves for about 15. Right? That's where that money goes.
Mhm.
That's what that money's for, to offset the things that I'm not asking for in the budget. Right? The Burns Foundation, we send the Burns Foundation a letter. They send us $10,000. One year we bought a tractor with the money. So there's no want or need. It's like, hey, Bill and Caitlin, what do you think we need next? Right? The basketball hoops that we bought, $25,000. The money for that got donated, went to the Friends of Rec, then got purchased to buy those.
Friends of the Rec has always been really, really generous. Whenever they've really needed something and they've asked for it,
Mhm.
they go out and raise the money too.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
I think there has been an underlying feel, at least since I've been around, that we have as a group, or even before I got on the board, kind of try to keep prices down so that everybody can afford to take advantage and be a part of the rec. rather than boost a lot of pricing up, as you said.
This is the kind of conversation that's helpful to us. Bigger picture, like what direction do you want to go? In the budget, we've increased, well, the rec fees are 115,000, which that's a stretch. But it's not because we say we're going to increase this, that, or the other fee. It's just that that's what the target's going to be. We'll work together to meet that target. But whether it's scholarships for camp, well, it's $600 this summer to go to camp. And there's donations that pay for kids who don't, have the means to do that. So this is the stuff you don't see in the budget. Like if nobody ever asked about the Friends of Rec, you wouldn't know. But if we only have 100,000 in revenue from the town, they raised 25,000, I would think that would be an easy average for stuff that we just had that you don't even know. If we don't have that tractor out at the fairgrounds, the grounds don't get taken care of as much. We don't have the new basketball hoops in the gym. Little kids, they adjust better. So all these little things that just make it better. The pickleball courts that forever people were saying we want pickleball courts.
Oh, I saw them down there.
Well,
I was walking every day down there. They were out there.
Hustling, doing it
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah.
And there is a lady from West Windsor. She's from New Zealand. She did set up indoor pickleball. She was really the glue. She was like the lady. And I wish I had it for everything, right? Doesn't matter what it is. She was going back home for like 6 weeks. She wants to start it back up when she comes. So there is a good group. We're going to let them do it in the gym. They wanted us to put lines down and I'm like, no, we'll mark, you can tape it out, but I don't want to, we have we do use sports. We also, it's a really nice vintage gym. I'm not really trying to have lines everywhere when they're only realistically in here for 5 months, maybe, and more like 3. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole different.
You do get a lot of support from the community.
Right. And so
For your
we do.
programs and
Yeah.
what you guys, your mission, what you think.
And I would argue, especially nowadays and having older friends, right? I've made friends with a 70-year-old gentleman and I can genuinely say he's my friend. That those marginal 5 years that we want to live, it does. You have to be downstairs. You have to stay fit. You have to do something. You have to stay energized. And how do we get that? Right? We went from for 20 years, hey, because I'm a youth advocate, thought I was the biggest youth advocate in the area, right? I went from that to how do I be the person that I need when I'm older right now for those people? And that's why we're going to start offering some senior citizen stuff. And I have the flyers and I wanted to give you a couple.
Absolutely.
Okay. And if you do know anybody, and you guys take a look after, I won't go through them right now, but if you do know people, please, right? I am not opposed to stealing anything's a good idea. Palmer, you got a good idea? You tell me.
I don't.
I know.
The part-time wages look like that's reverting back to, it's an increase from last year, but it just looks like it's reverting back to numbers you had in 24 and 25. Why we knock those down last year?
That was because COVID years, right? And then we offered more stuff. The kids were out of school longer. They were in school, not in school as long. So we offered more things. So the part-time wages were up. It reflected that the year after to kind of offset it. Now it's back. Minimum wage just to go up. I've gone back and forth because there is stipulations, right? Deb just sent a thing out about overtime pay and all the stipulations and how it is. You kind of need a PhD in Harvard Law just to understand all this stuff. But if it's a part-time wage, like I don't necessarily have to give them minimum wage. But why would they work for me if they could go work for minimum wage someplace else at a different job? Because guess what? Lifeguarding ain't that fun. Right? It's serious until it's not. It's not, and then it is, right? And so I kind of got to be competitive. The other thing is I had Molly and Jess, if I lost, like, they're solid. When I'm not at the pond, they're 25-year-old twins, right? They're school teachers, and I'm not going to pay them $15 an hour like I would a high school kid. Do we want it safe or do we not want it safe? And it would be. It has been for years and years. But if I have them and so you got me, Bill, Caitlin, and those two, there's 5 adults that are over 25 years old that are on staff that deal with kids all the time. It's a good, solid group. that's really the big thing about the part-time wages. Trust me, if I could take nothing and run it the same, I would. I really am a guy that just makes it work, and I figure out solutions. That's what I do nowadays.
I have two questions.
I got probably answers right.
Do you feel like for you, one of them I actually changed my mind about asking. The other one was, no. The other one was if we wanted to say, hey, can you make your budget look more like you're bringing in 150 a year rather than 115? I have no idea if that's an accurate or appropriate number. I'm throwing one out. Is this the time where we would say, hey, can you come back to another, or like give a proposal for making a small increase in revenue?
Yeah, I mean,
So the-
again, that's the,
Is that why we're here?
it's if you're saying I like the below market model, basically where we are. And that's a value, that's an objective of the board, that's a vision of the board and the budget committee. You come back in and you can't have 10 people all saying 150, 155, 160, 160, 165, 170. But if you want to say, hey, come back to us what you think is, we'll say, the most realistic
Yeah,
number.
Because it's gonna be realistic, because what happens if it's not?
I really want to be very clear that I'm teeny bump up, teeny tiny, like realistic bump up, because then if you go nuts and you're charging all that, nobody can help friend the rec.
If you look at it in the past, the biggest year was the COVID year. We had 3 months of daycare at when school, because school got out at noon. It was 124, 121 or something. All the other ones are between 88 and 108. I can picture them. I can picture Harry's writing. I can picture them on the thing. I like that, numbers like that stick in my head. Like I get it all. So I would say 115 is a high end for what we are offering. Right? And all the free services that we're offering and all, like, right? Because say it's moon dance. Moon dance takes up a lot of time. I don't have time to work on other things when I'm doing moon dance.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a big investment. That also brings things, that's a good event for the town.
Yeah.
It brings a lot to the town. I know people that pay taxes with that event because they make so much money that. Right? So there is tangible things, right? The dog park, you know, hey, should we pay for everybody's dog bags? Right, I'm
Saying the only things I disagree with.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm just throwing, these are things that I think about, right? We put water up there. You know, like, these are things that are that cost money, that are a service that we do, that people expect. No different than the lady that drops their trash off at any of our trash bins. That's why the trash goes up every year.
It's safe to say, and maybe I'm a math's way off, but it's safe to say the rec accounts for less than 5% of our total expenditure.
Yeah, the net is not much. You see their total rec budget's a 327,000, and we get 115, so a couple $100,000. But again, it's like, if money is what, you can't say we don't care about the money, right? We all care about the money, and you go line item by line item. Oh, we can't cut any of that because there's a good reason in it. I mean, it's some validation that the things are running well, that it isn't easy to just pull things out. But James and I can sit down and go through things, and not to get into too much detail, but we have summer camp. It brings in a fair amount of money. If we raise the price on that, that may mean some kids don't go, and that may be okay. But it may also mean that we don't need as many counselors because there's a mandatory ratio of counselor to camper. So maybe we save more money on staffing, so you save even more. But I mean, those are the kind of things that have to come into play to say, well, where can we make some more money?
I mean, some institutions raise the price and then have a little bit of a variable price, you know, and then people can ask for waivers or ask for.
That happens.
Yeah.
That happens here. I mean, I can't tell you, when Harry Ledoux left, I figured, how are we going to replace him? He knows everybody. He can have those personal conversations. James is a younger, better looking Harry Ledoux. I mean, he knows everybody. He has those conversations. He doesn't get taken for a ride by somebody who just doesn't want to pay. And, you know, like you said, giving a ride home to somebody who knows, family knows what's going on. So those kind of things happen. I do think there's room for structural change in how the fees work that isn't gonna alienate everybody in town. I know when my daughter moved to town, they were paying $140 for Little League soccer, where they came from. And they were paying what, 40
Mhm.
here? Well, where they came from, 140 is probably like 40, but
So since last year, I did raise them this year. I
140
didn't,
bucks.
no, not $140. I don't think so. I'm looking at the,
Anyways. Huh? You should have been paying for it anyways.
We won't go down that road.
I got a big picture question on it. What do you see as the trends as far as the number of kids coming in, people in memberships like over the past 3 years, and how do you envision that changing going forward? Does it look
if
like?
you showed up on Monday at 6 o'clock, you'd have been like, how do you even do this? Right? That it is, we are busy. And the other thing, we do all of our own cleaning. So every time it's busy during the day, we're cleaning and then I'm here. So there was 15 kids. Of course, it is first of the year, right? And the high school, the college kids are back. So there's gonna be more people here and there is more in between. I would argue that there's more kids playing sports, right? And I don't necessarily know if there's as many people doing all the extracurricular stuff, right? Bone Builders hasn't been there in 3 or 4 years since COVID. Really, it was COVID that screwed us to try to rebuild from COVID to get people back in here. And then it's a new demographic. A lot of the people that were in Bone Builders are aging. You know, Maria Meseropian is aging, right? And that's the stuff that I like. I want to see these people. I want these people in here. I want to do things for them. I want to know, get the wisdom from them before I don't have the ability to. So this place is super busy.
Well, I didn't mean, that's what I'm saying. Where do you, so we took a hit during COVID and we know there's some areas that didn't recover.
Right. So
What do you envision as a way to try to get those areas to come back where they were? Because that will solve your revenue problem by just getting, more people participating and
right.
paying fees.
So if you look at it, really, it went, and this is why the revenue, and I can break this down. 20 less kids at $600 is my revenue right there, right? We went from 83 kids in summer camp to 63. Now we're sacrificing, we're getting a better quality of program. We're sacrificing quantity. And that's just how the kids are here. Could we offer after school programs? Right now it's free. Right now it's free for a kid to walk from the school to come to the gym, right? Do we think that's fair? Maybe. I mean, where else are they going to go? That was my argument to the school when the school got out at 11 o'clock. You don't want the kids to go from the school to here, but where do you want these kids to go? That's a safe place. So really that revenue thing, it is all summer camp with the structure that we have here. 10 kids here, 10 kids there, 6,000, there's $15,000 right there. That's the money.
I'm very grateful for everything that you do. I'd just like to say.
I'm invested. I really am. I would never cut a raw deal for the rec. I would never cut a raw deal for the town first the rec. I'd screw the town before the rec, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like I said, I thought my job was to be the biggest youth advocate. I went away, I came back, asked myself if I had anything else to prove. I've done everything I thought I could. I've done things that I didn't think I could do. My 5-year, 6-year, 7-year plan. We're in year 10 now. As a full-time employee, year 8 as the rec director. And I came back and said to myself, how do I protect the thing that I love the most? Right. And that is the rec, and that is the kids, and that's the people. And yeah, I may be too Windsor sometimes. And that's okay. Any questions, Farmer?
No, I think you stand by this budget that you think this is kind of where you guys need to be to maintain operations.
Yeah, I genuinely believe we have the best team in departments. I've expressed this. You come down, you see my guys and go around to the other departments. My guys are the real deal. They really are.
Well, you're
Caitlin is caring, right? Bill can fix anything. I take care of the rest. And
be the part, look the part, act the part.
You're showing that in the budget by putting it to the staff. I'm just team raise prices out.
So yeah, it is 50 and 60 to play, to play sports now, which is still on the light end. Would people not play? Probably would, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
You know, the other aspect, the other revenue, or the other avenue that I suggested to myself was instead of fundraising all the time for the Friends of Rag, fundraise for the general fund. Right? And then we're not raising prices. You're just putting a little more work on me, Bill and Caitlin. And that can be as simple as a cornhole tournament, right? There's $2,000-3,000, right? $2,000-3,000 over 5 times is our money that we're looking for. And this is just a quick fix, right? My job is to figure that stuff out. This is not, you tell me, I figure it out. If I don't figure it out, you yell at Tom. You all want to.
It happens.
Yeah.
And again, this is, let all of this stuff happen. We need $38,000 to change the tax rate by a penny. So this isn't about changing people's tax bills in any meaningful way. It's about every so often you should look at things. Maybe we should discuss what is a reasonable way to keep a little more current with costs. If that's an objective, it's like, this isn't, it's a principle of the thing. Do we really need to be charging so little? If it means that everybody in town that's going to it, their tax bill, is over here, because if you extrapolate this over every department, that's what ends up happening. But if there's an interest, and it sounds like there is, we'll work on that, about not just doing the same fees year after year, but strategically finding places that are particularly below market, or there's a particularly high demand, and doing it for that reason. We make a few more bucks. They want to do a tournament or two that throws money into the general fund, that's good too. But it's not something that changes people's tax bills. It's more of a quality of life thing.
Well, I think it's also an argument for a lot of the comments from the survey. People keep saying, well, what value am I getting for my tax dollars? And they don't stop to think about the rec. They don't stop to think about the kids going there after school and they're not paying anything for that. And that's the value for their tax dollars. And that's the stuff that maybe needs to be talked about more. Because even in everything else, that's when you're talking about that, we're always talking about the potholes that didn't get filled. And never really talking about the other. I think it's an important point, an attractive point, that we actually have a rec department that by just being a resident, you have the ability to take advantage of. Doesn't work that way in Claremont. They built this $1 million facility and then they charge out the ceiling for it, plus raise the tax bills through the roof to be able to pay for it. So they're hitting on every side. You're really paying double for the thing if you're a resident there. So it's like, I think that's, and the portion of the budget and the value that we get out of it is tremendous. I don't see any reason to do anything. I think it's important though. It's funny about perceived value. If for some of the programs, you're so far underneath what the others are, some parents are going to possibly look at that and say, well, maybe we should go to this other program. I know it's more money, but there's got to be a reason for it. It's got to do something more than what we're doing. And you start getting to that perception that price then becomes a negative, not a positive. Some of the offsets may be resident, non-resident pricing.
We do.
That the non-resident rate goes up more. I mean, you could look at some things like that too. That's the ones where you risk losing more. I understand that because they have more choice. But at this point, I agree with Ryan when what he was saying, that basically, it's not a lot of money. It's a 9%, but it's
25 grand.
It's 9% of a small amount to start. So that's not even gonna, like you're pointing out, Tom, it's not even gonna do a cent on the tax rate. So
Something we haven't talked about that is probably the biggest deal right now. We post stuff on Facebook all the time. By far, the biggest interest was the skating on the common.
right.
And if anybody hasn't seen what these guys do to make that ice go there and then to watch it rain and then freeze the right way and then snow on it,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah, well, and that's, yeah. A lot of things are free. Right?
The best things.
Sometimes, not everything's free, right? You say, hey, it's a free event. Let's go to Halloween Festival. How much money you spending down? Hey, it's a free dog. How much money you spending on the dog? So there is a lot of things that are free that, you know, it is free to walk into the rec, especially if you're not a Windsor taxpayer. Right?
I would quit using the word free, I'd say benefit. Because when you say free, then again, the taxpayer don't relate. It's a Windsor benefit. How many people get that? What other towns are giving these benefits to their residents at no cost? Because it's not free, because you guys are spending time working on it. The town's spending $100,000, whatever, $327,000 on it. So it's anything but free.
But the service
But it's
itself is free,
a benefit that you get.
right?
You know, and somebody questions it, it's like, well, do you like ice skating? How do you think it happens?
Hmm.
You like swimming? When we leave your kids down there to go swimming? I mean, it's like all of this stuff is happening and I think people look at, and when you say the word free, it's not clicking. That it's what the rec department does.
Well, it is free for the pond, though.
Well, that's,
So it's non-residents can come there and swim. Anybody can swim at the pond.
yeah.
So it is, right? There is services that are free and the town supports those services as of right now.
And I think our big benefit, I think, is we didn't build the pond. Somebody a really long time ago put that big dam there and then we all go swimming. We didn't build Paradise Park. It's not part of the rec department, but the town got that. Nobody's complaining about having Paradise Park. The building over here was the forethought of Harry and some others to not knock that down, to have a facility like that, the fairgrounds. And I remember driving past here with my wife and going, wow, look at these tennis courts and stuff. This town's, got something going on. But to not do the most you can with all of those things that we just have that aren't in the budget. I think the town has always been very supportive and they show it when they donate to Friends of the Rec and things like that. And I gotta believe that the recreation opportunities that are here are what makes us different. I mean, you don't even have to say what it costs in other towns. Other towns don't have it. It's just, you want to recreate, go ride your bike down the street.
No one has a diving board. I'll guarantee you that.
It's not-
Not an outdoor one. If you're good with me, I'm gonna leave these, okay?
You want me to put them up in different places?
Yeah, if you want to, that'd be great, or if you guys
I'll
want.
give them.
Yeah, I brought them just, if you guys, you want more? I really want people to come. And
I mean, a couple of us were already talking.
and there was a.
Yeah, you tell him.
Conley came today, right? Her husband has Parkinson's and I told her, I will go carry him out like a baby and put him in my car and bring him inside if I have to. I want him to.
Well, I may come for more of these because we've
Yeah.
got like 9 or 10 bulletin boards, physical bulletin boards.
Yes, I can send you. I mean, email them to you.
Yeah, you could do that.
Or you-
No, if you can print off the nice
I hear that.
colored ones for me.
Yeah, the nice colored ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will put some up, James, and I'll get some more.
okay, perfect. Yeah, I really wanted to go. And I want them to come in, tell me, like, hey, this is what I want to do. This isn't, don't tell me. Yeah, exactly. I know you guys are gonna get bossy real quick. No.
Thank you, James.
Hey, I'll paint nails. I don't care. You want to?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James.
No, I mean, like.
Next up is revenue.
Revenue,
Like,
all of these, passionate departments. So,
Page are we on?
well,
First
revenue
page,
at the beginning.
Okay, it says revenue.
oh, okay.
However,
No, I got
Two different things.
2026.
So. What the point that I want to make with our revenue, I'll start out there, there's no new ways of making money. Where the revenue that is in this is tracking what our history has been. The big thing that changed was we've reduced our projections for ambulance revenue.
Mhm.
So, and just stopping there, our revenue to pay for all of our expenses had been about 77% taxes and 23% outside revenue. Well, with outside revenue going down to do the same thing, taxes have to go up. We still need to get to that 100%. So with the reductions in the ambulance revenue, our split is now kind of 80-20. So in here, I think the spending increases, not counting contributions to capital and reserves, is 4.8 some percent, but the tax increase is around 9%. And that's because we've lost outside revenue. And that's, take this, this is just something that share this tab instead. Let's see what I put in. I can go through and read all of these things. Probably just be better to take questions. All of our contracts for services have gone up an amount that kind of matches the market or matches, how it costs us. Special details and billing inside to each other is just decisions that get made. But one of the things, and I'll be doing a series on this, is with the surveys, there's questions or statements that come in, and I took the top 5 of them, and I'll do a separate series on that. But there's, my taxes they're too high. Oh, senior citizens shouldn't have to pay property taxes, or senior citizens shouldn't have to pay for education tax, like all of these things. And at the very highest level, we're not allowed to make any of those changes. That's state directed, so we can't offer discounts to any group of people. The state does offer a veterans discount where you can offer up to a $40,000 reduction in a property value, and Windsor offers that full $40,000. So we do that, but maybe everybody knows this, but I just kind of don't think people do. Up here it says 53% of your bill goes to services and 47% goes to education. And I point out, you pay your tax bill, you send the check here. You come in and you see our treasurer. Nobody goes to the school to pay the school tax. Nobody mails a check to the school. So we are the face, and that's fine, but we are the face of your taxation. But we're about half of what goes on. So getting down to the school budget, the school budget's, we'll say $15.5 million. Because we don't have a ski resort here in town and our median household income is relatively low, the state pays 48% of our education right off the top. There are towns that pay more for education than they receive in education services. So they're sending towns, we're a receiving town. So right off the bat, 48% is paid for by the state. 17% is paid for by West Windsor. 9% is paid for by tuition students. So of the whole education budget of the 15.7 million, Windsor residents pay 4 million. That's a pretty big discount that I don't think most people have any idea happens. Now you take that 4 million, and if you fill out the paperwork for the prebate program, we get $750,000 to help pay for your taxes. Not we, it goes, well, it gets credited against your bill. So many of those folks are senior citizens. Like all of these programs exist, but since they've always existed, you get kind of insulated from knowing just what you're getting. So we're getting a pretty big value here. And I just found that out this year. If your rebate is more than what you pay in education, some of it goes towards your municipal tax. So that's, I didn't know that happened, but now I do. And it goes all over the place. There was somebody who had a $9,000 property tax bill and they only paid $1,500. There's somebody else that had a $9,000 property tax bill and they paid $8,500. So however the prebate thing works, again, that's not us, but you fill it out. My assumption.
When do you fill it out?
in the spring.
When you do your tax,
You do your tax.
it's the homeowners thing.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to fill one out anyway, but then you have to fill out the rebate form. And I think this year it's total household gross income of up to like maybe 108,000. It had been as high as 140. So that's everybody in the gross. So it goes off your prior year's taxes. You put that in, I think it's got to be in by April 15th, or like whenever taxes are. That goes off to the state. You do it all online. And then the state, when our tax bills are generated, the state sends the education rate to the town. It's not connected to what the school spending is. It's connected to what the aggregate school spending is in the state. And then a whole bunch of other mumbo jumbo, and it comes back out and they give us our tax rate. They see how much people are paying. The state assigns a prebate to those who qualify. It comes off their total. The state sends us a check for the lump sum of all of the rebates the Windsor residents get, and that gets credited. So like I said, it's about $750,000 a year. And it is surprising the number of people who find themselves out in tax trouble that really would easily qualify for that program that just don't do it. So we do. what we
So
can.
how can we help people remember how to do it?
Knock on doors. It really is like, I know the library puts it out, the resource
Yeah,
center puts it out, it goes out in
yeah.
a newsletter every year. Tax people should know it. I mean, you have to take some responsibility for being engaged yourself, but there's some barriers, people who are just not good with money or not good with technology, don't think of these things. I'll be doing what I can. Like everything only has its narrow little thing. People like the newsletter, but there's only so many people look at that. People like the
But the newsletter is, I'm not aware if you send a special thing, like, how do I save money on my taxes in tax season would, instead of putting it among all the information in your newsletter, maybe people would enjoy getting a separate email.
I can do that, and I can, well, it'll be part of further budget discussions. I have the free version of MailChimp and I can only send out so many a week. So I can only really do one.
As many people would answer that as they do the survey.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, would be an attractive.
There's no problems in doing it. Maybe I'm just being stereotypical, but I'm thinking most of the people that pay the most attention aren't the ones that need to be reminded.
Uh-huh.
It's the people who aren't as engaged on a variety of levels in the community that, now they can't get the Valley News to, sit in their living room and look at it. They don't do electronic stuff or whatever. We can work on it. I mean, that's something that we can do, but it is a big deal.
I mean, yeah.
We can put it in everybody's tax bill. And we do stuffers on different things.
That's a good idea.
It's, yeah.
That comes right with the tax, although it's a little late.
Well, I
because
mean,
it's
maybe-
done the rebate by the time you see the bills out though.
Right.
It's true.
That's the problem with that. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Well,
as a reminder,
so
so,
once you get on the routine,
yeah,
like next summer, September, when you get your first bill and now you're angry about it, you put it in that one. Cause
Right.
that's when you want to do something about it. It's like,
Right.
Okay, mark your calendar and do that. And we can do some things to fill a gap. I think it's $600 or $700 to do a townwide mailer, like to every household kind of thing. But then we all know you don't go to your mailbox and go, oh, look at this. I wonder what it says. Oh, I can save money right now. Oh, that's crap. I'll put that alone.
How about putting it out for voters who come through to register to vote, to vote and have a table with some.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
and I was thinking you can do a mailer right before, convenient time, right before beginning of March. When they're gonna come in and vote and say, don't forget,
Right.
Okay.
this is
Well,
the budget, but this is what you can, some examples. Some
Right.
taxpayers have saved 95% off their bill. What are you waiting for?
And it's
Someone-
This, sorry, the state is paying what they are not needing to pay. Okay.
it
Yeah.
used to be that the person got the money so that they could pay the towns. That didn't work out.
You don't say.
That's so sweet though, that they thought.
Well, isn't that with so many programs though? Like, you want everyone to do the right thing. And
But
the
yeah.
people who don't do the right thing, I bet you 90% of them aren't saying, I'm going to do the wrong thing. They're going to say, I'm not going to, I can't send the money today because I have to make my mortgage payment. So, they rationalize. The point with all of that is if, but I have no points anymore. That if 20% of the town expenses are paid for by other fees and 80% of the school things are paid for by other ways, we're already heavily subsidized. And that doesn't make it, if you can't pay your bills, that doesn't make it any easier. But one of the other things is with all of those other entities contributing to the money we get, if any of those go down, the only way to make it up is the taxes go up. So if the state decides to cut back on the rebate program, it goes up. If they decide to change the education funding formula like they did a couple of years ago, we don't have any place to go. It's a little thing this year. We're fortunate to make the money we do with the ambulance service and things like that, but you kind of take it for granted that it's always going to be there. And, I will say things have bounced back pretty strong since the first quarter of the year when we saw some real weakness there, but not strong enough to say we should budget at that level again next year. But that's gosh, we have all of this great stuff and there's a whole bunch of towns, probably the majority of towns that pay more in taxes than they ever see in services. And, I don't think I'm speaking out of school, but you go to Heartland where they have a little rec program. Their school system is what they do, but they don't have the rec facilities that we had here. They have a volunteer fire department. They have the sheriffs or the police department. They have a lot of different things for the same population, and Weathersfield is kind of the same way. And they're happy, but they also use us sometimes for like their, rec or whatnot. So we're a little different. And this is just, you only need to see like a little red line there in the middle. These are all the towns in Windsor County. And they're ranked by how much their tax bill is. And we are 12 out of 24. So how come, I'm going to move? Well, there's lots of places you can move and go to south, whatever all those things are. But of all those towns that are above us, we're the only ones, there's us, Springfield and Hartford, that have full-time all those departments. So all of those other towns, Baltimore and West Windsor and Barnard and Plymouth, they don't even have any services and they're paying more. So to me, this is just the sales pitch. We have a pretty good thing here. It stinks when you have to pay more for anything, but we get a revenue from a lot of different places than just the tax bills. So that may sound like a whole bunch of rambling, but it's, when I get into all of this stuff, it's 3 months, all we're doing is working with the numbers and a theme will come out.
I think it's worthwhile because everybody in this room can be an advocate when we're talking to people in the town and be like, I have a lot of time, and I don't know who I'm quoting on this, but somebody's been like, oh, my tax bill. And I've said, okay, do you want to wait like 25 minutes for the police to get here? Or do you want to wait 3 or, whoever? We've talked about that. So we all now have the language that we need to be like, listen, and this is very helpful. So I think it was not very rambly, but I'm not the best judge of that myself, as you may know.
No, you're
Maybe.
well, and the other, I refer to this survey a lot, and I'm going to stop qualifying it. It's not professional. All the professional surveys are the ones that say what you want. All the stupid surveys are the ones that don't say what you want. And that's the national surveys to Tom's little survey in Windsor. But I can tell you, as I watch the responses come in, the percentages stay very consistent after about 50. And I would bet that goes up to 3,500, that it stayed that way. I was, maybe I shouldn't say this, but very encouraged that after we really got hammered last year by the big tax increase, that this year, and it was like 62% of people said their taxes were too high. Well, it's back down to 52%. And to me, that says people are saying, okay, well, I'm getting something for it. I still don't like it. I mean, I really can't imagine a world where 35% of people are saying my taxes. The only reason they would say that, I think, is because they're not getting anything. Like, my taxes are too low. If I could spend more taxes and get better roads or better services, that would be okay. But I think that 50-50 is kind of a sweet spot. And when you see all the different comments that go along, which does make for interesting reading, I would encourage everybody to do it. Taxes, half the people say they're too high. The other ones have priorities. Nobody says I want less of anything. Why aren't the roads better? Why aren't the sidewalks better? The police need to be more. The ambulance needs a fire. The fire department needs a ladder truck.
Well, people did say that why do we spend all this money on these, police and fire services that other towns don't have to pay for? So I just
Yeah.
noticed that people do say that,
They say it, it's not a trend.
right?
And it's legitimate. You look around and we're all the same size towns.
Mhm.
I don't want to steal Kevin's thunder, but when he talks next week, one of his statistics is mutual aid calls have gone from about 30 a year to 90.
Mhm.
And well, that's not money we get. That's not something anybody sees, but what that is a reflection of is the struggles that volunteer departments are having in our area, where we are the ones that have to pick up the slack. And that's just how it is, we live here and that's part of the deal. But the people nobody uses, hopefully, the police and the ambulance service. I'm surprised how few people, I think I sent a thing out, 35% of the people don't use the rec. I wonder if they just don't know, like when they go to the pond, they're using the rec, that kind of thing, or when they go to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
But, it's a legitimate thing. I would expect, though, that since this wasn't new, none of those services, they've all been 50, 60, 70 years, that kind of thing, for whatever the reasons are. The quality of life concerns would be dramatically more. Or taxes could be more, because I don't think it's a coincidence that we have a hospital and 4 nursing homes and a school all in a town that has police, fire, and ambulance services right here, so you take whatever, $30-40 million of Cedar Hill out of the tax base, that's something real.
I had a friend of mine message me and she was like, I just heard a gunshot and I don't know if I should call the police, but like, I kind of feel nervous about it. And I was like, next, go ask your husband, who I also am friends with, when he gets mad about his tax bill, about the fact that you can call the police right now and talk to them and say, hey, I just heard a gunshot. Might have been someone hunting, but that's why. Okay.
So
My concern is, everything you're saying, I agree with 100%. Start out there. The problem is, can we sustain it? The bottom line is, everybody gets X amount per month, per year, whatever, that's how much money they get. And that's not going up proportionate to how municipal salaries and other public salaries and everything else have been moving. And the reality is that if our tax base, and if you looked at the numbers, the thing that really was surprising to me, it was 38%, I believe, are fixed income seniors, right? From what I understood from the survey. So that's not going to work. They're not going to get any more money. The prebate's going to help them quite a bit, of course. But what happens if any, as you pointed out, if any of those things change? We know they're going to change how they're funding the education. I don't think it's going to get any easier. I think that's going to affect us a lot. The question ultimately comes down to, in order to sustain this, how do we do it in the future? Because we're not going to grow that fast as far as being able to get more development and get things happening. It's just, there's literally hardly any permit applications for anything new coming up. The Development Review Board, I think they said they only had one thing they looked at in 3 months. That's not encouraging to show that we're going to grow our way out of it. So I agree with it, that all of these things are important. They're the quality of life to make Windsor what Windsor is. But at some point in time, what happens when you just can't write the checks anymore?
new people come and write the checks.
Oh,
It sounds flippant, but we see the number of houses that turn over. We see the the clerk's records of people leaving town one way or the other. And part of the evolution of things is the people who've been here a long time. You just look at the number of people who graduated from Windsor High School. It's not a majority. And when somebody moves because they can't afford to live here anymore, somebody buys the can. And that's when I hear housing is so unaffordable. I'm like, my kids, I think they bought a house. I think they're going to be gone, but they've been here 4 years because they can't afford it. It's-
Wait, you buried your lead.
Yes, I did. Well, they're still there. We'll put it that way. They never watch this. But every house they look at,
So
huh? Yeah. Never mind. My law.
not getting around me on that one, Tom.
But I mean, I think part of the reason that the satisfaction thing is that people, many people here in town aren't comparing their tax bill to their tax bill of 1978. They're comparing it to 2022.
Mhm.
And some of them are comparing it to the lower bill or their prior bill is higher. There's lots of places in the country where they're higher. There's lots of places where they're lower. But that's just the evolution of a community. You just can't stay the same if for no other reason. The sewers and the streets and the sidewalks and the schools and the cars and everything wear out. And there's no way to do.
Right.
So my soapbox thing is the state, they're either going to figure something out or they're not. But the state's not growing, populations aren't growing, tax base isn't growing. So, and even with the other questions in the survey about housing and whatnot, it wasn't to say, here's the solutions or here's the causes, but people are frustrated. Like, why aren't there more houses? Well, you look, there's an awful lot of people that support conservation over development.
Yep.
The town, as I pointed, a third state parks, a third current use. And when the state has a tax policy that says if you don't develop your land, we'll pay you for some of your taxes. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying don't be frustrated when it works. So with an older
It is the vacant properties in the center of town, I think, that stands out.
It's true. And we have $1 million bond. We could buy them if we want to.
Yeah, he wouldn't sell that.
Oh, well, and I mean, that, like, not to be facetious, but they're private property.
Mm.
We can't make them do anything. And again, the state will not let us make them do things.
Right.
We're not allowed to assess them for bringing down the other values around them. We're not allowed to fine them, or we fine them, but they're never enforced. We spend a lot of money on legal fees going after the really bad actors that are here in town. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about one of the landlords on Main Street who's much more difficult than the rest. But what do we do? If a building is worth 150,000 and somebody wants to sell it for 350, does the town buy it for 350? Does something magic happen because now the town owns it? I don't think so. Do we buy it for 350, sell it to somebody else for 150? And say, we just want the store fixed up. We'll sell it to you for 150 if you can show that you've got 300,000 to put into it. And that you don't want to put a unicorn ranch in there, something that'll work. So
Want a unicorn ranch.
we need the unicorn manufacturer first. So
And the problem is we don't, in doing those deals, we usually also offer some sort of abatement relief on the taxes for 5 years or even longer. So we're really not seeing any quick benefit whatsoever out of that. And if values continue to grow, it becomes a net sum loss. And so, because additional tax revenues aren't going to be realized for further down the line. So that's not a fix for a short-term fix at all.
no, and maybe that's why this is a more general presentation over the next few weeks is the pressures are coming from not here. There's wage pressures because there's a labor shortage. And it's good employees moving from here to there. So you want to keep your good ones because the next one you hire, you're going to pay something too that may not be as good. That shortage isn't being addressed. There's not new people. There's not new skills. The housing is not being addressed. Healthcare is not being addressed. So, and all of those things come down to us, and we are the face of all the people who get frustrated with all of those other things to pay the property tax bill here. I don't think there is any magic way out unless there's a systemic change some other way. But, kind of, my overarching goal with all this is this isn't going to be an easy job. And I don't want the next person to come in with a budget that is unrealistic. That, I said people complain way more about poor service than they do about their tax bill. And I think this budget, you'll hear from James and Bill and Kevin, they're all very passionate. They're also all very good. I think, turning this over, it's a really good staff here. But you start nibbling away at the quality of life here, all you're doing is providing less and less value. So. Anybody have questions about the next week will be the capital and reserve, but I can't stress how important, this whole bond to cover the dam expenses and all that kind of stuff is. I can go on about that. We'll just leave that till next week.
Shall we?
Smiling, you live in a great place that is
No.
subsidized by other rich people.
That's why I live in Vermont.
Yeah.
No, I always think this is very funny. My mom is a tax attorney, so I grew up just saying like, if you want to have society, Emma, we're all gonna have to pay for it. And so these are always very interesting to listen to.
Hierarchy works.
How are we gonna buy Greenland?
We're gonna, don't.
Now, come on now. If Stewart would have followed through after his big success in Alaska, it'd already be ours. Onward.
Onward to the liquor list.
What?
Sorry, Jeffrey.
Oh, I guess I wonder, having we had this discussion, I really think we need a way to educate voters more
Yeah.
about this stuff. And I think we need to have start brainstorming about it, because I think a lot of this is never going to leave this room. What can I say?
Yeah.
And people are going to vote, and they're going to, who knows? I just don't think people have enough information.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this idea of providing maybe a table at the voting, but it's too late kind of when you do that, but it's too late when you do it at the voting place, the polls. But I want to concretely, physically have a person. I mean, like we did our survey things, whatever, all summer.
Our outreach.
Our outreaches. And like,
Come tell us about your taxes and your visions.
say, we want to tell you, I want us to educate.
Yeah.
We could do something like
I
that.
think that to me, that's always bugged me, that we don't.
Knowledge is power.
It is.
You can't force people to be engaged in the process. You can, and I know you're.
Yep.
I understand.
We gotta educate. This is not necessarily material that people want to consume or really care that much. And as much as you're like, oh, we gotta get stuff out here.
Well, but I think that we might catch a few people.
I think there's value in what you're saying, maybe not right for now, but for
I don't
following
need to know.
year during the summer when people are out and about. I mean, we got good feedback.
We did.
All that. Oh, we did during.
People who never interacted with Sagwood in any way.
But it has to be an ongoing thing. not
It
just
will be,
once.
absolutely.
That's the point. Like every year when nobody runs for office.
Every year. Like, I'd love to do public outreach.
No, I mean, it's like all year. The
Yeah.
communities everywhere are just not engaged the same way.
Right.
The rec people are lucky. They have people who are interested in rec and they're engaged in rec and they
Yep.
donate money to rec. Schools have kind of the same thing, people are there. But even the only time people run is either somebody's good-hearted, but then if there's a campaign, they got an axe to grind.
Yeah.
And I've always found it a good sign that people aren't, carrying the torches saying everything in town sucks. You don't hear that. And more information is always better, but there hasn't been a big outcry of a systemic change. People can be upset, but I think in general, they're happy to be here and houses don't have any problem selling. And from what I gather, Windsor has a different reputation today than it did in, say, 19, whatever, pick the year.
Yep.
And that's got to be worth something. And I mean, I think it is. I think that's, the biggest asset we all have is our houses. And
Right.
so there's got to be a way to do it, but it's not like, let's have this event. I Anyway, you got 10 of you here. That's like 150 people apiece.
I'd be willing to be on that subcommittee.
Yeah, I think we should possibly look, I wanted to look into like public outreach on a regular, like every year or every summer. Because it really was such a good way to meet people and we got such positive feedback from people just saying like, it was nice to be able to come and talk to you, but it wasn't in a meeting where I felt rushed or like I had to say things like, you just have a conversation. So I don't know, maybe we set up a table where like, come meet the select board. Tell us whatever you want to tell us, but also we have some things we want to tell you guys. And we could have like maybe little pamphlets made out on. Like, I get what you're saying and I've thought the same thing, even about things as little as the town meeting coming up and all of those things at the end. A lot of people don't know that when you vote yes on those, that makes our taxes go up.
That's
And I'm surprised at how many people I tell that and they're like, what? You know, like,
so like under the radar,
like little things like that, that we could be like,
more critical thinking, maybe.
yeah,
Well, in July, when I opened my new bar,
I'll be there. I'll be
you know,
there.
all it's gonna be is me sitting at a bar on the backside. And I will require board members of all boards and budget committees to attend and sit there to just shoot the breeze on municipal matters. Okay? Everybody will want to be there.
Free drinks.
Well, you know, that's Vermont. Yeah. Drinks are overpriced. It's a good thing they're free. I mean, that's probably what they would say.
Well, another thing to consider is we're starting a process of rewriting the town plan. And part of that process is to go and get feedback from the vision of what everybody wants to see happen with the town. So I think part of what you guys are saying, that outreach and information would be great because there's really 3 active members on the planning commission now. There's only 4 total. And so combining that to try to get more information and also fulfill what we have to in order to have town plan approved, because you have to do a certain amount of outreach for that, would be a good idea. Plus, that gives the select board members some input into rewriting the town plan, which I think would be very good. And I'm also gonna reach out more to development review. I've been having them try to get them to come to our meetings as we're rewriting the zoning and everything, because they're the ones who make decisions after the zoning is done. So what I find is that we went in a good direction, but we really don't have a lot of communication between the key core committees and groups that run the town, between the select board, DRB and everything else that are the meat and potatoes of it. You know, when it comes down to the revenue, the taxes, the restrictions, talk about housing growth, well, that's your zoning, you know. State of Vermont has had the zoning set up to where pretty much impossible to build anything new anywhere, and it worked great. Act 250 was a phenomenal thing as far as stopping anything from happening. Now they're all of a sudden saying, oops, we got a problem because we've done this the last 20 years, nothing's happened, and we're all running out of money because there's nobody here. Well, you didn't want them here. So that's changing, and we need to, and it's the longer term, be able to get more money to make the revenue go up means we have to have more opportunities, more growth, more housing, more commercial. Finding out what we could do to really kind of kick some butt down there in the prison property and saying enough is enough. How many decades is this going to go on that they can't figure out what they're going to do? And sometimes the best way to get things done in something like the prison is not through the normal political channels. It's putting pressure on them through the press and other things. Showing how what they're doing is hurting not only Windsor, but the entire area. And that's how people get held accountable in politics, is that they don't want to see their name in the paper saying, well, you're trying to stop all this. And then you're turning around saying we need to change everything because we screwed it all up. So to me, I think that would be a great idea if we could combine those 2 things together and get that happening on the town, because we got the grant for that. I think you guys found out about that. So we're going to be moving forward with that come Probably April, May, as soon as we're finished with the zoning stuff. County commission still.
All right.
We're gonna move on to the liquor license for Georgetown Tavern.
Thanks for your budget committee people. 6:30 next week. Please email any questions you have on the interim or any information.
Wait a minute, 6:30. I thought we were gonna meet at 6 when we had a regular board meeting. Oh,
No, got shot down.
that got, okay. It was always 6:30, but when the paperwork went out,
Yeah.
it got, it's,
It's 'cause last year.
I was late.
okay. All right.
you guys, I work, I cannot get there at 7. I'm like, yes, you get here at 6:30.
I barely.
I moved, give them a license.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Walk away.
Did you give Mark that? Yep.
So Mark,
You like it?
Henry.
Second, your motion. Is there any discussion on the liquor license for Georgetown Tavern? Sorry. I'm assuming, Tom, it's the same liquor license
It's a renewal of their class
thing. Okay.
3 license, so they
Okay.
can sell drinks.
Yep. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, there's no discussion.
Second it.
Ryan, how do you vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, they've got their liquor license.
Okay.
Now we're gonna go into old business, the town manager search update. And honestly, we don't have an update. Our consultant is in the process of finalizing a recruitment brochure for us, and that will be coming out somewhere around the 19th, I believe. Yes,
I know I emailed you my thoughts. Did that get forwarded to him?
it did, and it was added.
Thank you, because I didn't do it directly and I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
I did, I put it in with what I had over there, so, he should be sending us over the final to go through, approve, make sure everything looks good. I'm excited to see it.
Me too. People are asking about it in the community.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I've had people ask,
Yes.
when are we gonna see it posted? When are we gonna see it posted?
We'll need to know how
I need
to
to-
direct them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a feeling it's gonna, I looked at the timeline from Dominic and it said that the finalized brochure should be the 19th. So I'm thinking by the end of this month, it realistically should be posted. How about discussion item town website?
We're not 100% of the way there, but I'd say 90% of the way on getting things updated and processes. The board chairs will be getting direction on how to upload things. I think the default's going to be send them to Tiffany in the office and she'll take care of it. But we'll provide permissions to those who want to do it themselves. So I think we're pretty good on all that.
All right. Are there any public? There is no public. We just need a motion to sign orders.
There's a public.
Do you have,
You're looking for outreach earlier?
Yes, yeah.
Just happen to know that owner of the talk radio station on Front Street,
the what?
the owner of the local talk radio station, and
Yeah.
actually several local radio stations, he lives on Front Street,
Who is it?
Really?
Who is it?
John Landry.
I don't know.
Small world.
I just
No.
contacted him and asked, and had him call Tom. So, hopefully, we should be hearing from him soon.
Okay.
Thank you, public. Thank you. What is your name?
Aaron, I'll see it.
Aaron, all right, well, thank you.
If I were the train out there on Route 44.
Hell yeah.
So now you're gonna be known as Aaron, quote, the public.
The public, you represented the whole public today.
That happens.
Hey, Gary, was my first media interview. I ran for sheriff and did a
So,
radio show.
Randolph.
We do need a motion to sign the order.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Jeffrey, how do you vote?
Sorry.
Aye.
Send them on down. And how about board member comments? Ryan, do you have a board member comment? Emma, do you have a board member comment?
Happy New Year, everybody. I hope is getting ready for Mardi Gras. It is in a little while, so get your king cakes.
Learned about that from the McNaughtons in, fourth grade.
Mhm.
They came and did a, little presentation for us.
I'm gonna do that.
On what?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
Really? That too.
Dad,
Oh.
we had king cakes and things
Mary.
back then. You know those king
I
cakes.
do know, I do know. My mom ships them to me.
We got our ship for a while
Yeah.
too. But then
Wow.
that kind of stopped, the in-laws stopped shipping them. And King Arthur had mixes that you could make your own. I tried that a few times. They're expensive. But you can
I
do.
know, I like.
Mary, do
I
you have a
know.
board member comment?
I really don't, except to say thank you for the budget committee for saying to the budget. It is what it is. So thank you.
I ditto what you just said. Jeff.
I have nothing.
Sure.
I like the dress.
All right, so I'm gonna adjourn this meeting at 8:09.
And if anyone hasn't signed my petition to run again,
I don't even know. Did you guys sign mine?
I signed it.